8,
9.
9. Oh,
Yay.
what's up? Woo! All right. What's up, everybody? My name is William Wesley Walker. I'm here with my buddy Keith Shevlin and Jason McCammon, and we
Hello.
are going to go into Prodigy Season 2, a full review. Like, I've been waiting for this conversation where we can just go all in and be like, oh my God, so this is what happened, so this is really what happened, because, you know, whoop-de-doo-whoop. But anyway, yeah, I think it's pretty. How's everyone doing today?
We good.
Good.
I
I freaking love it. I freaking love it. All right.
It's so much of it, though. I can't even remember the whole thing, but let's go.
It's a lot. So say that beautiful line, Keith.
Oh, me?
Yes.
The words of Marie, roll that beautiful team footage.
Woo!
Every other vote.
And you gotta admit, the dude that was coming down the aisle, he was kind of cute. I didn't care about my.
Here we are. Welcome once again to Trekkers Delight.
Like, literally, my mic falls down just as we go live. Hi, everybody.
Who you gonna be?
The captain of the Enterprise Z.
Love that baseball and the teacup, like clearly TNG DS9 fans. So.
Man, that we see power rates at some point in this season.
What is going on?
Power had shit to do with the power rates.
No, everybody, this is actually one of the main screenwriters for Prodigy, so we are super excited to hear from you. And
No one
also,
listens.
I'm a little embarrassed for being as critical.
Man, I really love that intro.
This was a nice touch.
Yeah. I thought you were paused. I thought his whole. I was like, oh, he froze.
It's saying every week it's the same shit.
Gotta get used to it, kid. You're in
Oh
it
my
now.
God. No, it's like I thought I could, like, you know, because sometimes in the beginning it was like Jermaine's disapproval face, and then Keith just got him beat. Like, he's just like, really, Will, I am never. See, even now he looks like he's paused.
It does. Both of you did when it started. I was like,
I'm
oh.
just gonna put him over here. Okay. Okay, he's not paused for real. Okay, that's sweet. Okay. All right, so Prodigy Season 2 review.
It still feels like season 3 to me, but it is season 2. Season 2.
Well, we've gotten so used to Star Trek being at most 13, 14 episodes on Discovery,
right.
But only 10 episodes on everything else. 10 of Picard, 10 of Strange New Worlds, 10 of Lower Decks. But Prodigy, 20 episodes a season.
And then they put the last one on Netflix. You know, Netflix is just like, here you go. Here's all 20 episodes.
All at once.
And with season 1, it definitely did feel like it was pretty much like a 2-season arc, and especially because they broke it up. So, part 2 of season 1 started airing almost a year exactly after part 1 started airing.
Right,
so,
right.
We lost Jason already.
I'm sorry.
I am just that boring, ladies and gentlemen.
You're not boring.
Jason, come back.
Oh God, he'll be back. He'll be back. He always comes back. So
okay,
yeah.
So quick recap for those that don't remember. Okay. Bring up. So we started off, our crew is split up.
Right.
We had most of the crew in our warrant officers basically going through training to get into the academy.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Gwyn on her way to Solum. So we had the two-parter Into the Breach part 1 and part 2. In part 1, it's the crew being pulled out of their classes to then get to the Voyager A, and they meet the EMH for the first time, and they're on their way to study the wormhole. And then part 2, you have Gwyn on Solum, and Essentia has beat her there, and she's going to run and hide, and she finds Iltheron and tries to find a way to fight back. So then we have Who Saves the Saviors, in which you have the crew from the Voyager A plus the one cadet, Majel, joining them on the ship, going through the wormhole, landing on Solum. They mess up and accidentally, change history by Chakotay and Akrit. I'm blanking on his names. Atrik, the Chakotay's first officer, getting away. And then the next episode, Temporal Mechanics 101, you had them making it so that they could go backwards in time and save Gwyn from having fought Essentia and lost because they changed the past. Then they made their way back to through the power of time travel, and they were able to make it all the way back to the ship about the time just after they left. You had them, under intense scrutiny and everything on the ship. They tried to steal the Infinity again, and this time they made holodeck clones, which ended up not working. They tried to use a Borg transwarp conduit to find Chakotay, following the cues of the secret man that was talking to Murph. In that, they got thrown off to where there was a Kazon being controlled by an AI that was making them race. Then we had the Medusan planet, where Zero was able to get their own body. Then, of course, we find the mysterious figure, and it was Wesley Crusher, as one of the travelers, calling to them. And he is able to send them all to the planet where Chakotay and Patrick and the Protostar are hiding. So then we get Last Flight of the Protostar, part 1 and 2. So this is with the start of the second half of the season, them convincing Chakotay that he won't destroy the Federation so they can get out of there, and them having to rig the Protostar to float on the airwaves before they can gather up energy so that they can launch. Then you had a triple called quest where they went to a planet to find the material to power the proto warp drive. And in it they find tribbles, and we get genetically altered tribbles by a Klingon, and we get a bribble, which is a tribble with regard, and becomes Rocktalk's little friend. Cracked Mirror, we have, as they return back to Voyager, they accidentally break subspace into multiple dimensions, and they are jumping between dimensions, a dimension where Janeway and Tysus are dead. A couple other different versions. One where Tuvix is the captain of the Voyager A, although we didn't see him. And then, of course, we see mirror version of Voyager A. And they're finally able to get all back. Chakotay is now reunited with Janeway. And then Essentia comes up and starts busting shit up, because she has we find out at the end of Ascension Part 1 that she kidnapped Wesley Crusher and was using him to build a super fleet of ships by using time to be able to build in days something that should take months to construct. They are able to defeat that ship and then try to format a plan to get back at her. They make it over. They sneak over to Solum. They sneak down, free Iltheron and the Vonnegut government, only to be captured by Essentia. Then you had in Touch of Grey, the people of Solum fight back. Ascensia is defeated, and they find that the wormholes that were created, all of them were now a problem in the atmosphere. So in Ouroboros, to close out the season, part 1, you had them uniting the wormholes to be able to create one to send the Protostar back so that it could land at Tars Lamora and history can be back to what it should be. And then they return to Earth, return to their studies just in time for the rogue synths to attack, and we're back in the prelude to Picard Season 1. And now we have the Voyager A under the command of Captain Chakotay. You have Admiral Janeway back at headquarters, had retired but came out of retirement. And you have our Protostar crew on the new USS Prodigy, which is a Protostar class ship set to be the only exploratory vessel in Starfleet.
That we're going to decommission because they're like, well, we're not going to explore right now, so we're going to decommission the ship.
With Gwyn in command, Dahl as her first officer, and the Janeway hologram as now the emergency command hologram, as originally proposed by the EMH in Voyager.
That leaves two different, I guess, avenues where it seems like they could go. Because one, they've set up where now they're in the era where right after the attack on Utopia Planitia, right? And they cut themselves off from not only the Romulans, but a lot of the surrounding areas to just confine the Federation in one place, so they could show a lot of the aftermath of that, or the prelude to Picard, which is
right,
same thing. And they could be running around in that situation, or they can still, since it is an exploratory ship, they can just leave everything altogether for some reason. And all that will still tie into whatever storyline is happening in the aftermath of the destruction of Utopia Planitia.
Yeah, and they do have the proto-warp drive, so distance isn't a problem for them. They can cross thousands of light years in hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they want to make a trip to the galactic core, to the center of the galaxy, to find Shaka Ree themselves,
they could
actually do it within the time span of a major.
Honestly, if they open up season 3 with that in a way that kind of makes fun of Final Frontier, it's just beautiful. It'd be hey, let's just go to the center of the galaxy.
Well, they did it. I don't know. They don't need the Protostar. They did it in half a day and
that's what I'm saying. We're gonna pretend that Scotty temporarily either used a transwarp drive or a proto-warp drive. It was Scotty. There was no way that you could get the Enterprise A to the center of the galaxy in 2 hours.
Well, there was a lot of misuse of distance in the original Star Trek. Yes, even in the very first episode.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Original series, their ideas of how big the galaxy was rather off, and they kept on saying quadrants. We're in a different quadrant now. Even though quadrant is supposed to be 1/4 of something.
It's a 3-dimensional quarter.
Yeah, and so their concept of quadrants was way off, and they were using quadrant and sector interchangeably. It wasn't until Next Generation that you had the Alpha Quadrant, Beta Quadrant.
Right, they were using ideas, but didn't think it was
nothing concrete
to have these ideas concrete until what happened was nerds got up and started saying, "Hey, man, you can't do that." And
if you're gonna be this big science fiction show that actually believes in science, you got to get the science right.
Right,
for sure, because it's that they started using parsecs in Voyager, or were they? Yeah, because I don't remember them using it in Deep Space Nine or TNG, but I remember them using it in Voyager.
Well, you could use the term parsecs. That's nothing wrong with that. It's just a measure of distance. what's wrong with it was Star Wars, but then they tried to fix that. It was actually a decent way that they fixed it, but
that's the way most people, when you mention parsecs, they think of A New Hope and how they got it wrong.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But looking at season 2 now, William, you have been very open about what your favorite episodes of this season were.
Top 3. Okay. So hold on.
Fast and the Curious, Devour of Words Part 2, and Ouroboros.
Yes. I was just saying, I can watch those 3 episodes forever. Like, I really could. Because it's just like, Zero has officially become my favorite character. Officially. It is done. It's like, their character is so great that I feel like I know that everyone had their episode, everyone had their moment, and I feel like everyone had, it's an ensemble. You know, we talked about this last week. It's definitely an ensemble. That's not in question or in dispute. But the character that they made for Zero is so great that it makes me feel like the others are just not leveling up.
Did you like the humanoid better or the robotic better?
I don't care. That's the thing. Okay. That's the thing. Who sacrifices themselves twice?
Yeah.
Not even Jesus.
Bruh, the most Dal did was just fall off a ledge that you knew he wasn't going to die from. Like, now I will say, Gwen, badass, ultimate badass. Sword fight. Use the good juju to get this to get the Thor's hammer to her, essentially. which I put Gwen at number 2. I'll put Gwen at number 2. Definitely. It's not to say that Dal isn't a good character. I'm just thankful that compared to season 1, he actively is stepping back. You know, he's learning. He's absolutely learning, and to the point where he gives command over to Gwen. And he becomes number 1. So he's still number 1. Like, he says, it's not getting twisted. He's number 1. He's just number 1 on the ship. But Murph will always be like that cute comic relief. I hope to see, I forgot the whale's name. I hope to see more of the whale.
The whale.
Jillian.
Right. Jillian? Is it Jillian?
Yes.
Okay. What was the name of the doctor from The Voyage Home?
Jillian. Yeah, we discussed this a few weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so that's where my memory was going. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that part, I hope to see more of Jillian. Like, girl, you threw down. Like, cause that's brilliant.
No, the whale, it was cute, but it didn't really do much for me.
Oh, that's the thing.
Except for when they said
less is more.
Too.
Sometimes less is more. And I like that. I even like that we got to see a mirror universe version.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Except for they said they got evil whales too.
And then it's like, if you think about it, it's not a far-fetched idea to use echolocation to navigate through space.
Yeah.
So I'm like, not that far-fetched. So I'm like, okay, I'm sure that there's some sort of technological enhancement they gave Jillian to make the thing work. Like, but yeah, the first time I saw Zero torpedo their way into the AI that I thought was Kate Mulgrew as an evil character, but not Janeway, but like someone else. But it was someone else. I thought, did Zero just die? Like, because this and they made this plasma explosion look like an actual explosion. I'm thinking, oh my god, the kids, they're hit by this fire wave. I'm like, I'm losing it. I'm like, oh my god, I don't think this show is for kids anymore. This is definitely teenage level right now. And then, but it was just like, I guess it was like, it was plasma, right? What was? Okay.
Yeah.
And then the Devourer of all things. Look, I've been waiting for Wesley to have his moment. I've been waiting.
Yeah, I was happy
I've
for
been
Wesley
waiting.
to jump into this,
Absolutely
this thing.
Because at the end of the day, he was the first when it comes to kids. First Prodigy.
First
He was
Prodigy.
the first. So it's kind of like, I like how the show is not about Wesley. The episode wasn't even about Wesley. It is not. Like, he plays a very strong character, but it's not about him. But you still gave him his moment. Just like I talked about it in Picard season 3, which was the only season.
It was
I really
a lot
liked.
better than what we got from him in that, which was
in season 2. That's what a lot better.
He might as well have been Stan Lee.
But the way they gave everyone their moments in the final episode of season 3 of Picard, to me, is that equivalent of what Wesley did. Kind of like when Troy took the helm of the Enterprise, or when Crusher laid down torpedoes better than Worf on the Borg Q. Like, I mean, whoa! Like, they were all like. And to this day, I watch that scene, or when Data Death Star his way through the Borg cube. I'm like, yo, that is how you give everyone their due respect. Because, yeah. So I felt Wesley had his, and I feel like anything they do more would be a little bit too much, because the show's not about him. Like,
no,
so I don't think they are.
It had a nice amount of him in there, and he was useful. Although we didn't actually get to see him use. He did use his powers, but he lost them, so we didn't help out in that way.
And his powers were a little bit amorphous. Like, he told us that they were so much more than what we thought, and then he didn't have them.
Right.
So, and then when they did show him use them like in a defensive way, he purposefully got caught, because I was like,
got caught.
How did they just catch him? You know, he stopped these guys and didn't know that there was a beam in back of him, but I figured he knew all that. And he was planning to get captured anyway. Oh, for the record, a parsec is 3.26 light years.
Okay.
3.26 light years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jason, what were your favorite episodes from season 2?
I wasn't really ready for that question. I did like when I've been dealing with a lot in the past couple weeks.
Okay.
Funeral tomorrow, engagement party last weekend, U-Haul truck.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
No, I had fun at the engagement party.
Tuck the funeral.
We're still going forward.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at
I know what you meant.
Okay.
I know what you meant. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And then our U-Haul got stolen with some stuff on it for the engagement party, and some of that stuff was stuff from work. So that's been the whole thing with insurance. But anyway, favorite episodes. I rather enjoyed like you said, when Wesley came into the picture. I don't know. I kind of had a fun ride the whole time, and I was pretty happy with most of everything that I saw throughout the season, between the characters that are, our set characters, between the characters that they brought aboard, how they brought in Chakotay. I guess it doesn't really answer your question, because I can't exactly remember which episode was which doing what.
Do you have like a particular moment that stood out?
No, but what I do like is the arc of we've discussed this, of Dal kind of growing up, and I also like that moment, like when he walked into the holodeck and Nova Squadron was in there. They're like, "What's this kid doing here?" And he was just like, "Hey, man, I'm here to learn from the best." When a previous season ago, he'd be like, Don't you know who I am? I go fast, man. Try to catch up." And he would have just been this cocky asshole about it. So I like watching him sort of mature in that manner, as well as Gwen sort of mature in her role and who she is. Everybody had a nice little arc to him. I appreciated it. What about you, Keith?
We talked about it a little bit last week in our Robert Us review, how this season, I heard so many positive things about the season as a whole. And as we went through it week to week, I just wasn't feeling it. I was not feeling it. I was not taking it one or two episodes at a time. I was not seeing the whole picture. And there wasn't pretty much my favorite episodes of a season is the 2-part season finale because of how it brought everything together, because of how everything worked into a plan, and that it was very clear that they have had a very solid plan of how they were moving all the storylines along for the series, and that it came together. Not only bringing together everything that we know that they've been going through, but everything that we know is coming, mainly being, the prelude to Picard with the synth attack.
Right.
So being able to connect that all together, and us seeing a little bit more of what life in Starfleet was like in the immediate aftermath, and being able to bring up certain things and answer certain questions, I thought it did a very good job of making it one big cohesive story, but it needed the ending to do that. So,
did you like last season better than season 2? Season 1 better than season 2?
Yeah, actually, I did.
So I think I like season 2 better.
Because season 1 did feel like there was 2 stories, but it was like 2 parts of a whole story. Whereas season 2 was one big story that just the way it chopped up didn't make sense until it was over.
I feel like the way it was one story, but there were like 3 stories happening that created. You had the arc with okay, then you had Essentia, and one thing that was really weird at the end is how the Loom all of a sudden just weren't really a threat. Like at the end of the Loom was a huge threat to them.
Well, they fixed the time loop. They sent,
but they had to fly through like 1,000 of them first.
Right.
Temporal shielding, though. They have temporal shielding.
Right, and then you had the Voyager that was literally shooting them off of.
But they couldn't even barely shoot them off at first.
Well, they didn't have the phase variance at first, and they didn't have that information at the time. Janeway says it verbally when she's in the shuttlecraft, right?
Yeah,
when she matches the
Yeah, they learn more about them, and they're able to attack them more effectively. Yeah,
and also we come again to where a human can navigate a ship better than an AI can, which I don't know if I ever will believe that. Picard did it in what episode something or other.
Oh, which maneuver pilot ability are we talking about in Prodigy?
I mean, just the ability to navigate quickly in and around things.
I don't know. They did a pretty damn good job.
But they act like the ship's AI couldn't do it. And I get that in 1990s, but nowadays I think they would know better.
I was going to say, let's talk about it. There was a Voyager episode where Janeway said to Tom, like, "Hey, yeah, you're a great pilot, but this computer can make quick changes a little bit faster than you can."
Yeah, absolutely faster. But I'm just they just use that as a mechanism to have Chakotay have to fly the ship in there.
Right.
And then they were just going straight the whole time.
I mean, it appeared straight, but obviously there was all kinds of turbulence and things within the wormhole. So it wasn't. It may have looked straight, but we don't know what the currents were.
That we probably don't answer. I'll probably be better off just looking it up. Because I was just watching the last episode. As far as we know, like as far as we've seen, so forget the real answer, whatever that is. I guess I can look it up. But as far as we've seen, like in Star Trek, are wormholes pretty much 2-dimensional entrances? like a Stargate.
Yeah, you can only you could be behind it, but you can only enter it from the one side.
From the one side, and it's pretty much 2-dimensional, right?
Yes.
Yes. So you can't.
Yeah, it's a tear in space. So yes, it is.
So you can't enter it from the only thing that you can enter from all sides is a black hole.
Right.
That's the only thing. At least that's how Neil deGrasse Tyson said it.
And the black hole is on our basic understanding is a type of wormhole.
Right. If there's another black hole on the other side,
or a white hole.
Yeah, that's
or,
all.
Right. Or what? Yeah, light hole. Yeah.
That's all. I guess non-proven and theoretical and mathematical.
Well, yeah. I mean, because
there's been the idea of a white hole has been surmised, but it has not been proven. It has not been viewed.
That was also they started doing that before Hawking sort of quantified Hawking radiation, because they're like, well, where is all this stuff going? So it's got to be going somewhere. So perhaps there's a wormhole. But with Hawking radiation, it does leak out. Right. There's energy that does leak out on both ends of the black hole.
I don't even know. I don't think we've ever seen. I don't even think they've even asked the question in Star Trek. Can you enter, or what does a wormhole look like from behind?
From behind, right? Or the side. Let's just go to the side and go.
Yeah.
I mean, Deep Space Nine is always that same, orifice.
We've seen it from the side.
Aperture.
Right.
Which we see it's sort of like a side angle, right? But there's like an accretion disc almost going around it, right?
Exactly.
And it's on an angle, and then there's just the entrance.
Well, it's just interesting that, especially the way we talk about black holes, and it was mentioned frequently. We've seen it mentioned like in Discovery and others, but you go back to the original series and the episode "The Child with Nomad." Spock pointed out that Nomad was lost in a quantum singularity, what your people used to call a black hole.
Oh. Right, it does say that.
Yeah, so like they in the original series pointed out that there might be more to black holes, and that in the future they might look at it differently. And then we get into new Trek, even 90s Trek, they started referring to black holes as black holes again, and quantum singularities is something different.
I remember when the TNG episode when the moon was falling, or this particular planet's moon, which will look like a giant asteroid, but this particular planet's moon.
Well, the moon usually is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's falling into their atmosphere, and they're trying. And Q lost his powers, so they have to use his brain to figure out what happened. And he said, "Well, what probably knocked this thing off course was a singularity passing through the system, probably a black hole." I remember him saying that.
Okay. Right, that could happen to us.
Yep.
I didn't even know black holes could move.
Everything's moving. First of all, there's nothing. There's no such thing as something that's not moving.
Really?
Or there's no such thing as something that's not spinning. There's no such thing as something that's not moving.
Everything is moving. I mean, the galaxy. We're moving around the sun. Right. We're spinning. The moon is moving around us, but the galaxy is spinning as well around its core, and then the galaxies themselves are moving away from the universal center, the site of the Big Bang.
Now, also, everything can be categorized as stationary if you include it within the system where it resides. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, so. Most things that we look at are in some sort of system. Like we are in our sun it's the center of our solar system, so it just looks like it stands still. Mm-hmm. What they're talking about is in some type of rogue object that is not confined to any specific system. Oumuamua that came to our solar system came from somewhere else, right? Mm-hmm. It was not locked in by our sun's gravity or whatever. It's still locked into the galaxy probably, but a rogue black hole could have moved past their moon and just sort of knocked it off course.
And plus, it takes. It's been pointed out that one reason a lot of time travel things couldn't work, like Back to the Future and any of those others, because they may be on the same place on the planet, but the planet's not in the same place.
Right.
It takes us. I mean, like you could go back a year to a year, you're off only by a little bit. But if it's the same day of the year, then around the sun you're in the right place. But where the sun and our solar system are in terms of the galaxy is a different place.
So now you're just in space.
Because you got to take into like daylight savings time and
no, none of that.
Because
none of that.
The entire solar system is not in the same place that it was yesterday.
It takes 250 million years for us to completely encircle the galactic center. Mm-hmm. So the galaxy is spinning at a rate of 250 million years per rotation. So right now, where the Earth is, the last time it was at this exact location, there were dinosaurs.
Yes.
Oh,
but not T-Rexes.
No, not T-Rexes. 60 million years ago.
So then, I'm so glad you brought that up. In game Voyager, when Admiral Janeway went back to the past, she said computer, blah 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 blah, and lock in these temporal and spatial coordinates. Like the time and the place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just time, because if you may get the time right, but you're just gonna be floating in space.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Wow. So technically there's a sort of a spatial temporal inertial trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
Not a trimectric trajectory.
You could say that too. What are you drinking? Straight vodka? What's that water?
Water.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. So back to Star Trek Prodigy.
Mm-hmm. So I had something that I was thinking about when Will was rating the different crew members. What about Jankum?
He's the least developed of the season. He's sort of like
he has a mouth on him.
If he wasn't there, you might not even really notice him.
He never had a storyline to himself.
No,
like Rock Talk at least had the dealing with the tribbles and a couple of the scientific things with Jillian and them. But yeah, we had him fixing the ship, but they left him to fix the ship while they went and had the adventure.
He was just like sort of comic relief. He was like the black dude they added in the 80s. So to just say cool and all right.
I always thought that Jenkins was like the Russian that used a wrench to hit the machine and then it works. Like
Deep Impact.
Deep Impact. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Armageddon.
Armageddon. Yeah. Someone hit them. Yeah, that.
But at the start of the season, we had him trying to be a better person,
right?
So, fighting everything it is to be a Tellarite and being agreeable,
right?
And then right after that,
he kind of he got away from percussive maintenance, but then he came back to it. But he still was trying to be agreeable, but he never really had a story.
No, he didn't.
He didn't really have. He had an interaction, but it really wasn't much of a story.
Yeah,
he had an interaction with the counselor.
A lot of his interactions, he could have been anybody.
They were quick. They were all quick.
Done. What? You're right. I can't think of anything. It's just like, now I won't say he was just there. I won't say that.
Right.
But he was definitely. It was giving. Side character.
I'll put it to you this way: Majel, the new character, got more of a storyline than Jankum did.
Yeah.
Why did they? Let's talk about this. Not that I'm against it, because throughout Trek we've always seen new female Vulcan crew members. We've seen it in Undiscovered Country. We've seen it in Lower Decks. We've now here we are.
That seems to be a go-to of Star Trek through the years of at some point introducing a female Vulcan character. So you had Saavik in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Mm-hmm. You had Dr. Solar in Next Generation. That was only for a couple episodes.
Right.
You had T'Lyn in Lower Decks. Excellently well done. And now you've got Majel here on Prodigy Season 2.
That episode of Lower Decks was so awesome. Was it called Lower Decks?
Yeah.
It was called Lower Decks?
No.
It was. What was it called when they had like each of the lower decks of each ship of the Klingon
Wage
ship?
Douche.
Oh,
Three
okay. Wage
ships
Douche.
in Klingon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point that out.
So
yeah.
why did they bring Majel to season 2? What was the point? I loved her, but I kind of wanted to know, like, okay, what was the point of adding this character? Was it to give Zero a girlfriend or what?
Well, first of all, like you said, first they love to add a Vulcan when they can, and a female Vulcan. It's just one of the Star Trek fave characters that you like. Do you think she actually changed someone or anything? Like changed Dow or changed?
Oh, she definitely changed Dow.
Yeah. So
in fact, I think she had more of an impact on Dow than she had on Zero.
And then Bestie's now, not in the beginning, but Bestie's now with Gwen.
Yeah.
Which we always get that. Well, we've seen it with males too, Harry and Kim. But like the female besties, kind of like Kira and Dax,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really cool. Or Beverly and Choi. I wouldn't call them besties, but they were kind of like
they're like the only girl.
Besties.
They were the only.
They were besties. Okay.
Were they the only lady? Oh, and Guinan, but I can't see Guinan doing yoga.
Yeah. But how do we feel about her character?
I thought that she was a good addition, and if you look through it as I was framing it, the second season as a whole, it was basically a thesis statement on the whole of Trek, and you could see they picked things from all of Trek's history together.
Okay,
you get the mirror universe, you get Tribbles, you get the Traveler and Wesley. You get time travel, you get wormholes, you get unique situations, clashes with Starfleet, battles in space, and then of course a female Vulcan character brought in. So it's like they brought all the best of Trek over the past 58 years distilled into this 120 episode season.
Why did they do? I love that. Why did they do that? Because when I think of that, and I'm speaking objectively here, when I think of that, it makes me feel like the end of Enterprise, when the last 5 episodes was just a recall to all of Trek, the Borg and genetically enhanced
season 4 of Enterprise, period.
Yeah,
right. Essentially,
which is a great season.
Yes, it was the best season of Enterprise.
It was the best season. It was the best season. So, is it the best season because they did a recall and expanded the universes of what we already know, or are they just saying we're about to end the show? Here's
no, they didn't know exactly that they were ending the show at the beginning.
The reason season 4 of Enterprise is the best season of Enterprise was because they finally accepted the idea that we're a prequel, and we need to be setting shit up. Right. And they did very little setting things up across the first 3 seasons. Like, yes, they referenced we're going to Warp 5, we're beaming a person, we're creating energy beams, and
it was really weird in Enterprise to have a nemesis, a reoccurring nemesis that was never ever seen again.
Yeah,
like the Suliban.
The Suliban, yeah.
They never saw them again until it could have been somebody that they saw once on a planet or something, and it changed. They could have said this was them before this time or something, but it was really weird to have.
Yeah, if they would have set up the Romulans as an enemy from the beginning, that would have worked.
Yeah,
that would have worked with them, of course, never seeing them face to face. That would have worked, but no, they had to create the Suliban and name Suliban as a play on Taliban. And then, of course, they came up with that before 9/11. But
what? I don't know why they keep doing that. Even in Discovery, they did that. Like, stop making this new shit.
When Discovery, the pilot of Discovery, was first put out there, I saw a lot of reviewers who said they're doing the same stupid shit that Enterprise did. You're creating alien races that are major parts of your crew that you never see again. Right. And they were talking about Kelpians with Saru. But they explained that And they did an actually pretty good job of explaining why you're not going to see a lot of Kelpians.
Right.
Because there aren't a lot of Kelpians.
They don't do that type of thing. But they did free them.
Right. But that still doesn't mean in 100 years there's going to be that
warp civilization
exponential growth enough that Kelpians are going to be everywhere.
Right.
So.
Yeah. It took 1,000 years for them to be something as we've seen in Discovery.
Well, as they said when they got to the future, that Kelpians didn't join until like the 25th or 26th century.
Oh,
so it's a couple hundred years after Next Generation that they finally joined the Federation.
I was just gonna say, they probably caused the burn, but they did.
They did.
They did. I still think that's like by far the worst reason throughout all of Trek.
Okay.
They really could have. They really
bring it back to Prodigy. Bring it back to Prodigy. We're at 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
In fact, all right. So just in all 58 years of Star Trek, 7 seasons of Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, 7 seasons Voyager, 4 seasons of Enterprise, 3 seasons of TOS, 2 of animated series, 3 of Picard, 5 of Discovery, 4 of Lower Decks. We have here Prodigy season 2. Lower half, middle, or upper half of all Trek seasons.
Of all Trek seasons.
Yes. I'm not asking you to rank it amongst all the different ones. I'm just saying top, middle, or lower.
I would definitely at least middle. I'd say upper middle.
I was gonna say upper middle. Like it's up there, but it's not up there. Like
it's also sometimes it's so hard to compare them because they're so different.
Right.
And for one, it's animated. For 2, it's just different times, different levels of expectations of how stories go, how people act, and what type of action is supposed to take place.
Well, let's bring it back to what Keith mentioned earlier about prequels. Strange New Worlds actually got it right. As far as prequels go. So I put it at the up there. That's up there. The season 2 Prodigy. It's like you're trying to get a 4.0, but you're like in the 3 points right now. Like you're like 3.999. like because it's
you're basically giving it a 6 or 7.
Essentially, like it's something I would actively watch again. Right. And it was a beautiful tie-in. They did not take away from the characters of any of the ensemble, which I'm so glad they didn't do. They didn't make it about any of the past characters in Trek, like Wesley. They didn't make it about him. They didn't take away from the story. Kind of like what happened in These Are the Voyages. It's not about Riker and Troy. I don't know. You can't do that. Like that's not a good. Well, that's something Jonathan Frakes spoke about. Like I don't like. Yeah, he did. Okay, but so yeah, it's.
I would give it a B. Like just on its own, I would give it a B.
B plus.
Yeah, I'd put it upper. I'd put it upper, but I wouldn't. I mean, it's not in like the top 5 of Star Trek seasons all time, but it's getting up there. I mean, I'd put it ahead of Enterprise season 4. Is the only one of the 4 Enterprise seasons that I'd put in the upper, and I'd put Prodigy season 2 above Enterprise season 4.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because of These Are the Voyagers, that it's like the dead weight, the anchor of the ship that's holding season 4 of Enterprise down.
The thing is too, though, actually, you know why it ranks? It kind of actually ranks better because it's all. When you look at the other Star Treks or whatever, there's so many. Even the great seasons, there's a lot of at least 15% just throwaway episodes that are just like
when you have 24, 26 episodes a season.
I
was gonna ask that, of the 20, is there any episode that you would remove and that would not change the season?
I feel
the only one that I was gonna say at first, like the Fast and the Curious, except for Zero Sacrifice.
Right. So it's kind of like, because you gotta give them a reason to get a body. give them a reason to get a body.
I mean, like having the hologram duplicates wasn't great, but it was part. They needed the distraction, like everything.
Well, they were all part of the story, so you can't take any of them out because they're all part of the story.
Exactly.
Just based on the entertainment value or what the value that you got from that specific episode, besides something.
I could only think of one. But even then, it's because of what they brought to the table that you can't just throw it away. But objectively, if you wanted to take away this particular episode that I'm going to mention, it would not affect the story. To me, the one where it was the Shattered episode.
Yeah.
Broken Mirror.
Right. It's like they get there, you find out in one universe Janeway's dead. You get to the mirror universe.
Or Cracked Mirror. Yeah. I actually think the episode before that, A Triple Called Quest.
I was going to say A Triple Called Quest.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, yes, they give us the explanation of how they get the material to power the proto-drive. And, of course, we get Bribble joining.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah.
But you wouldn't, I mean, if you didn't have Bribble, it wouldn't change the story whatsoever. Right. It wouldn't change the season whatsoever. And
damn, there really wasn't a filler episode, was it?
I was gonna say the Bribble one, just because it was just kind of. I mean, it was maybe fun or whatever, but it wasn't really necessary.
It wasn't filler, but it was also not. I mean, and it wasn't that it was a bad episode either.
It's not bad.
It just wasn't necessary.
In the grand scheme of things, it was probably the least important.
Is this the same episode where? And please correct me because I think I might be mixing up. I'm either mixing up episodes or I'm mixing up shows. What's the one where they're all like miniature?
Deep Space Nine.
No.
Yeah.
This is recent. This is New Trek. I think I'm mixing up shows. I apologize.
I think you are. Yeah.
I think I definitely am because
did it have Rick Moranis?
Oh no, that was Cracked Mirror. Was it one of the dimensions where the sizes were off?
Something.
I can't remember.
I think I'm mixing up shows. I still am. Well, at any rate, I was gonna say take that out because I don't know what that had to do with it. But the triple episode could, but then again we'd lose Bribble and we'd be losing the information about.
And then you have another episode about how bad it is for a Klingon to be a scientist.
I mean, we've seen a scientist before. No, that was the lawyer.
Yeah, but every time it's like a taboo. This guy's taboo because he's a scientist. It's something bad.
Which I kind of don't understand that about Klingon society. It's just like, bro, you the ships you're in.
There's no such thing as an empire. Maybe I'm just comparing it to our planet because there's no such thing as a civilization that doesn't have scientists.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we had Klingon scientists before. In Enterprise and in Next Generation.
That's what I'm saying, but there was like
a
taboo sect of,
unnecessary, not evil, but like a necessary thing because you can't just do it. They're not okay. They have their moments, but they're not stupid enough to say, okay, I'm gonna do this by myself. No, you don't know how to build a phaser from scratch. That's a scientist thing,
right? God forbid they become a farmer, right? Or maybe they just hunt animals.
Yeah, they definitely seem like a carnivorous culture. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Although, how do you make the bread with blood wine? Well,
I'm going to say, have you ever seen them eat a vegetable?
No.
I can't think of anything in Prodigy I would take out. What? Maybe something from the first half, like episode 2, maybe.
No, episode 2. Part 2 of Into the Breach. That's when you had all of Gwen's stuff on Solum.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're running out of time. We watched. So they released a trailer for season 5, the official trailer for season 5 of Lower Decks today. We are 2 weeks away from Lower Decks season 5 starting on. That'll be Thursday the 24th. Next week we will be doing a full preview of season 5, so we'll go into that more in depth. If you have not seen the trailer, please go. It's only like 3 minutes long. Go ahead and check it out. It's definitely worth the watch, and it definitely picks up one of the most called upon jokes left lingering from Star Trek Voyager. So I highly recommend checking that out.
Mine was
Definitely.
only a minute 30 that I saw. Is it 3-minute one too?
No, am I wrong? I thought it was. Oh yeah, a minute 30.
Okay,
You're
so
right.
it is minute 30. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
was
it was
guesstimating how long it probably was, but no.
I would love it to be 3 minutes. Like what? Where?
All right.
Yeah.
So just a quick news list. Thanks to the good people at Trek Movie, we have. It's October, so that means rights and shifting properties again. So now all 10 Star Trek movies, that's the all 10 regular Prime universe, not the Kelvin universe, have left Paramount Plus again. And this time they are now on MGM Plus and Amazon Prime Video. So if you want to watch motion picture up through the Next Generation movies, you have to go to MGM Plus or Prime Video, or just watch the DVDs if you have them.
Yeah, I got them.
So they are off of Paramount Plus, and Enterprise is now available on Pluto TV, but it's also on Paramount Plus as well. Pluto is also owned by Paramount. So the bridge of the Enterprise D that they built for season 3 of Picard has not been trashed, and it is now being part of Universal Fan Fest nights, where you'll be in Hollywood in spring 2025. You'll be able to visit the set of the Enterprise D bridge as seen in the final episodes of Picard.
Sounds like a trip.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
So according to this, it says
trip.
That's a trip. Oh.
A new type of event for Universal modeled after their annual Hollywood Horror Nights invite theme park guests and fans to partake in an all-original and immersive in-world experience. Interactive experiences from several popular fandoms, including Star Trek. And, of course, the D set being a major component of the Star Trek experience.
I'm going to make so many TikTok videos on
limited time after-hours experience exclusive to Universal Studios Hollywood. The inaugural Fan Fest nights will also include experiences from One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, Back to the Future, Dungeons & Dragons, as well as all new experiences debut within the theme parks, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Ooh.
Fan Fest nights will also be able to experience theme park attractions open during the event, including Jurassic World, Super Nintendo World, Harry Potter, Transformers, The Ride, Revenge of the Mummy, and The Simpsons. So that will be kicking off on Friday, April 25th, 2025, and continuing through Sunday, May 18th. So just short of a month next spring.
That's it?
And it's that. And then, of course, we've got the new trailer for Season 5 of Lower Decks. And that's it for news. Oh, there was a Trek the Vote event last week in which several cast members were on, in which they played a game called Would You F This Alien? And the clip is now available online, and it apparently is quite hilarious. I haven't had a chance to watch it myself, but
is one of them to Paul?
You mean one of the aliens or one of the people on the panel? Well, let's see. Okay, let's see who they are. It is Mike McMahon from Lower Decks, the showrunner. Noel Wells, Candy from Lower Decks, Eugene Cordero, Rutherford Lower Decks, Jerry Ryan, Jonathan Frakes, Rosalind Chow, Jonathan Del Arco, and Gates McFadden. Will Wheaton and Tawny Newsom were supposed to be there, but they couldn't make it. So this happened back on October 2nd, the Trek the Vote event. And then I know there was an event the following night, the Women of Trek for Harris, which hosted by Stacey Abrams. They had many of the female cast members of Star Trek through the years, and they, I think they raised a few $100,000 for Get Out the Vote things to help support the Harris Walls campaign. So Trek the Vote is nonpartisan, but the Women for Harris obviously is definitely leaning towards the Democratic side. All right, and with that, we're at an hour. So remember
Literally.
to like and share. Leave your comments below what you thought of season 2 of Prodigy. And of course, renew Prodigy. Keep the hope alive that we're going to get a season 3. Write Netflix. Let them know that you love it. Put it on in the background. Watch it again. Then watch it again after that. And then, of course, in 2 weeks, you start watching Lower Decks again and again and again.
Watch it while you do the dishes or clean up the living room.
Yeah, seriously.
Or just watch each episode.
Prodigy is now your background noise. You
Right.
just put on Prodigy and let it run. Okay?
Does this mean, last question, does this mean we're done with Lower Decks, or should we just keep? I'm keeping on. I
What do you
never.
mean lower decks? You mean Lower Decks? What do you mean done with Lower Decks?
Are we
we want to save Lower Decks as well.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
the thing
Okay.
is, right now, Prodigy has left it at something that could be an end, but we don't want it to be an end. So we would like to
Got
see
it.
it go for another season. They
Right.
have ideas for another season, but right now they haven't been canceled like Lower Decks has, but they haven't been renewed either. So, yeah, keep hope alive. Renew Prodigy. And
All right, then.
for Trekkers Delight, I've been Keith Sheldon. Join us, Will Wofford and Jason McCammon.
McCammon.
Live long and prosper, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Wait, Jason, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you being right now? I gotta know.
I'm serious, dude. You got
Like 10 out of 10 serious, or picking on Michael serious? Which one?
There is no temperature in space. It's not cold.
What are you serious?
Okay, wait.
Who is? Oh dear God! It just got
because you
better.
said his name.
Welcome to the party, Michael.
No, that is not how we're going to end the episode,
No.
because Keith actually has like a legitimate news update. He knows shit, and we should possibly like convey that knowledge.
That's my favorite line. He knows shit.
It's just like a black and red mound. It's like,
Why are you describing yourself?
what the hell?
Hello from
Hey, Virgil.
Hey,
Hey, Virgil.
welcome.
Hello, Virgil. Welcome. Who are you?
Who?